All right, so I would like to welcome Tatyana Soto, and I'll go ahead and give your bio. And I have to look on the screen because my printer wasn't working either. Okay, so Tatyana Soto is a grad student at Purdue. She studied population genetics in her undergrad, and my screen messed up, and is now working on understanding the impacts in inbreeding of inbreeding and self-pollinating wild petunias, and and how outcrossing is maintained in the group. Tatyana is a founding co-organizer of BlackBotanistsWeek, a fantastic week aimed at highlighting and amplifying Black botanists and teaching us all about plants and some of the amazing scientists that work on them. And Tatyana is also an amazing nature photographer. She takes incredible bird photos. I think my personal favorite are your birds in flight, and also the ones you did at the airport, or that made it into the airport. Those are super good too.
Thank you.
Yeah, and anyways, I'm just so glad to have this fireside chat because there's lots that I'd love to talk with you about and hear about from your perspective. And yeah, so welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Good. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I cut you off, but I was just gonna start with if you don't mind telling us just who you are, what you do, and how you kind of got there. You can start back as early as childhood or as recent as you like.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, my name's Tatyana, as he said. I'm a botanist by training. It didn't really start until undergrad. So growing up, I grew up in a super urbanized area, and I'll tell this what I think is a cliche story because I tell it all the time.
That's all right.
But yeah, I grew up in Oakland, California, so not much green space around. Didn't really know that botany was kind of something that I could pursue as a career. And so up until I applied for undergrad, I was planning on doing public policy. So I went into undergrad. I did my undergrad at Mills College in Oakland, thinking I was going to major in public policy. And in August, right before I started my undergrad, I took my first trip to Yosemite. Even though I lived 3 hours away, it was my first trip, and I was, 18 years old by then. And then I just fell in love. It was really nice to see so much open space, so much natural space, these huge extensive meadows and those big monolith rocks and everything like that. And so I was sitting there with my parents and I was just why am I going to undergrad? Do I have to go to undergrad? Can I just stay here and be a park ranger or something? Cause it was an experience that I hadn't had with just feeling so connected with nature. But being a first gen student, my parents were like, nope, you got to go to college.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So I went to undergrad, and then I started my first semester taking public policy classes. And we had a requirement where you had to take a natural science course. So I just took an intro to environmental science that was aimed for non-majors. And so I met someone in that class who was a biology major, and she told us about a symposium that they had every year for their biology research. And I think it was extra credit to go, so I definitely went. Yeah. And so I went, and then I was like, this is actually really, really cool. And I just started, just questioning if I actually wanted to do public policy, because I finally learned that you could work with plants and you can have a career in working with plants. So very quickly after I got into undergrad, I was like, I'll be an environmental science major. And so I think I reached out to the professor that she was working with to see if I could somehow get into it. And I didn't really have high hopes because I was like, I have no basis in biology whatsoever. I took one in ninth grade. And so luckily that professor gave me a shot. And so I started doing research on population genetics of 3 rare species in California. And so I spent sophomore through junior year doing that. And I eventually wrote my thesis on one of the projects that I was working on. And then what happened after that? Yeah, throughout undergrad, like, I mean, I loved what I was doing. I was in Marin County for a lot of our field work. So like nice views of the bay, really like benign weather. It was just like an amazing opportunity that I got. And then, yeah, I went through all of my undergrad, and then throughout my undergrad, I was like, I don't want to do any more school. I'm kind of sick of it. And also I thought that going to grad school puts you into more debt than I already had.
Right.
And then a professor did like this kind of workshop for grad studies. And he was like, no, you get paid to go to grad school. And I was like, huh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that. And so, yeah, here I am doing my master's in something slightly different, but kind of related to what I was interested in undergrad. So the plants that I worked with in undergrad were also self-compatible, so they could self-fertilize as well as outcross with other individuals. And since they're super, super rare, we were interested in potentially seeing, so if they self-fertilize too often, they have fitness consequences through inbreeding depression. And so we were wondering if we could do some cross-pollination to see if there's actually inbreeding depression in these populations, to kind of inform conservation plans if we can move seed from populations, and if that would actually harm the population or, you know, benefit it. But right as we were planning to do crosses, COVID hit, and then I had to go back home. So that just never came to fruition. But I just had an interest in mating systems. And then, so I'm working on mating systems now for my master's. But
no, that's really cool. I mean, you have a great origin story. I like it.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's so cool. Too bad that COVID hit. I mean, you know, like so many others plans, you know, they went to, you know, something different. But that after that, you ended up going to Purdue, or you're talking about some of that was in Purdue that you're just talking about?
Yeah, so that was, I had already committed to Purdue by the time we were planning on doing the crosses. So,
okay.
Yeah,
I see.
but I moved here about a year ago in July of 2020.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that straightens out that timeline for me. Okay. I mean, that's cool. I like all this, and so I've got questions. And if like we'll just stay with kind of the topics of, you know, what you're doing right now. Like the idea of self-pollination is fascinating. Like, just when you think plants can't get any cooler, you study their mating system, and it's like, what? They can do this? Like, how does this work? But so I learned a new word in prepping for our chat, and I probably like don't have the pronunciation right either. I mean, like, I studied trees at like the biggest like view of possible, so like physiology I get all messed up. But like, is it clastogamy? Is that how you say it? Okay. So can you tell a little bit about like what that is, and like what are the pros and cons of self-pollination?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so clastogamy is one type of breeding system. So plants can be anywhere from obligate outcrossers, meaning that they can't self-fertilize at all the way to like 99% selfing. So they rarely ever outcross, or somewhere in the middle. So clastogamy kind of falls in the middle, which is called mixed mating systems. And so clastogamy as a breeding system is when a single individual plant produces two types of flowers. One flower is just your typical flower that you see, you know, purple, pink, red. But they also produce a second type of flower that is obligately selfing. So it's completely closed off from the environment. Bees, hummingbirds, nothing can get to it, and it just self-fertilizes by itself.
Wow.
And so that's 100% selfing, whereas those flowers have the ability to outcross and rely on pollinators to produce seed. And so clastogamy as a whole has evolved in over 700 species around the world. So it's been studied quite a bit, but just not recently. So I am interested in exactly what the benefit to maintaining the open flowers is, because the smaller or the closed selfing flowers are much smaller and much reduced in size, and they don't need any pigment to attract pollinators. And so they're really cheap to produce for the plant. They don't have to rely on pollinators to produce seed, and they don't really suffer much inbreeding depression from previous studies. And so it's like, what's the benefit to the really expensive open outcrossing flowers?
Yeah.
And so people often ask, like, why is selfing maintained? Because selfing can result in inbreeding depression, which is bad for the individual plant. But I'm kind of asking the opposite question: why is outcrossing maintained in these species?
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's super fascinating, and like I know I watched. I didn't get to watch the whole thing yet, so I'm definitely it's still in an open tab, like one of my 12 open tabs. But your Holden lecture that you gave, right? And in that I'll try to link that too because the YouTube video is up, where you can watch that. But it was really cool, like the serpentine, like flower species that you were looking at. And those are the ones you're talking about, like looking at, if you could put, have seed in other parts and do like a conservation. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. That was cool. The lecture was great, but it really is interesting. Like, I don't know, like plants the idea is like, well, if conditions are right for it to grow in that area and they self, then it has already the genetics, right, to be good at surviving in that same area. So just keep doing that versus, getting some genetic mixing, and all of that, and the benefits that can have. It's a really fascinating subject, and I look forward to seeing like your next lecture once you kind of get this all figured out, right? You're going to get it all figured out, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. 2 years. No, it's really, really interesting stuff. Sometimes like I wish that, I'd studied, more of the physiology of things, but yeah, genetics and me, they just don't, they don't mesh very well. So
yeah,
I'm glad you're on it.
Yeah, I'm not like a big fan of like the nitty gritty genetics of the genes. I'm more like, I'll do PCR and
do a little sequencing. Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's all over my head anyway. So, but that's why I like talking to people smarter than me. So it's really cool. Thanks for explaining that. That's really cool. Okay, so I want to ask you about your participation in BlackBotanistWeek. I actually yesterday, I don't know when I'll post it, but I interviewed Georgia Silvera Siemens. Yeah, and I told her that I'd be talking to you too, but we talked a little bit about it from her perspective. But I wanted to ask you, like, what has it been like for you participating and kind of co-organizing with? I think you have 12 co-organizers. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about that in any context you wish.
Yeah. I mean, it's been amazing. That team is, phenomenal, and they're just so talented. And like, we really couldn't have done it without Tanisha, who sent out that first tweet. So last year, I think it was just really exciting because, I mean, I had not met more than maybe a handful of other Black botanists, especially in my program, in my specific degree. I was I believe the only person of color who graduated with that degree. We were a really small college anyways, but so, going to conferences, I'd be like, I don't really know anybody. And it's a little like intimidating to try to reach out to people. And so when I saw that tweet, I was like, oh, we can do this virtually. That's a little bit less intimidating. And so, last year was amazing and wonderful. And so is this year. And I'm really looking forward to being able to meet everyone in person, hopefully at the next botany conference. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about all of them. I mean, they worked so hard. And unfortunately this summer I was just so busy that I had to take like a slight backseat to organizing. And so, they put on amazing like Instagram lives and Zoom calls and everything. So I'm very happy with.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I definitely like the cross-platform thing going on now. with it, or I guess second round, right? This has been the
Mhm.
second year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to like everyone from here on out. I like the scientists are amazing, and yeah, it's like a really cool event. And now with like the different forums, there's like like you can't even make everything. You can't get to
Yeah.
all the information. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so sorry, is there anything else you want to talk about with Black Botanist Week?
Um, just keep a lookout for next year's all the events that we have for, and also check out the Holden Lectures because I mean everyone put on such a good.
Yes.
So for those who are watching who don't know, Holden Forests and Gardens did a kind of collaboration with Black Botanist Week, where we had monthly seminar series from I think a majority of the co-organizers on the team. So they just did either lectures about their stories or about their research. So it's all on YouTube, I believe, and there's also teaching material that goes along with that. And that we've had teachers contact us saying thank you and how much their students enjoyed the material. So it's a
Yeah,
good
that's
resource.
so cool. That is, yeah, it's an awesome resource. That's really cool. I'll make sure that, like all the things we talked about are linked to, and maybe, reach out to you, make sure that I get all the links right and all of that. Okay. So can we talk about birds?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. So I like your like bird photography is phenomenal. Like it's really stunning stuff. And like, I guess like you post some on Twitter, but you do most of like your shots on Instagram or no?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much solely on Instagram. My Twitter is like my professional Twitter.
Yeah.
Like try to keep it plant
Lots more
related.
plant stuff. Yeah. Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
Even though
Yeah.
like my friends like give me such a hard time because my username is like botany underscore Tati.
Yeah. And then it's all birds.
Yeah, and it's all birds now, so I can't change it, but I'll keep it that way.
Yeah. No. No. It's congruous for everything else that you do. So yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So oh yeah. So the photos that you took like a couple and they were selected to be in an airport. Wait, is that like in Indiana or where is that?
Yeah, it's in the Indianapolis airport.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Yeah. And they're super good. Did you ever get them? Like I know they put like I forgot what were they goldfinches or what was the I can't remember now or
One
warblers
of them was a pair of yellow warblers, and
yellow
then
warblers.
the
Yeah.
second was a yellow-bellied sapsucker.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the one that they put portrait instead of
Yeah.
landscape.
Yeah. I mean, it still looked good, but it just didn't make like the shot like it's supposed to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so I just tweeted about it, like not trying to like complain or anything. I was just
Yeah.
like pointing out the faults so that nobody tweeted me saying, "Why does it look this way?" Um,
Yeah.
I was just like so excited because I mean, it was funny because I flew out literally the day after that they installed it, so I had no idea that I was going to be able to see it until I
Oh,
got
that's
selected.
cool.
hmm Um, but then like the Indianapolis airport somehow found my tweet and then was like, "We'll get on it, we'll fix it." And then so
Oh,
I got an
that's
email
cool.
later. Yeah, so they fixed it. I think this Wednesday.
Oh, that's awesome. Did see it whenever you came back in?
No, yeah, I flew in on Monday.
Okay. Yep. Too bad.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome though. Congrats for getting that up there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and now people have something to see when they go to the airport. Instead of just catching their plane. So,
Yeah, yeah, all the
um,
photos are really nice.
yeah. So, you went to California, to visit home, family, and everything like last week.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw some of your bird photos from there. Did you take like your whole kit with you, all your camera stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
yeah. I
camera.
figured they were like super good quality and stuff. So I was like, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You didn't miss that. So how long have you been birding?
I started at the beginning of December last year, so
Yeah,
nine-ish months now.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
very,
really not that long.
no.
So you've had like I guess like a rapid uh, memorization of bird names and understanding and all that stuff. Field guide like with you all the time.
I use mainly mobile apps.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so I use Merlin, ID, and eBird. And I mean, when I first started, I was like, again, super intimidated. I was like, there's plenty of birders who know all the names of these things, and
Yeah.
how will I ever learn all the names? But I mean, once you get started, and I mean, it did kind of spiral into this slight obsession.
Yeah.
You learn them really fast, and so yeah, the apps really help.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't used Merlin. Like, I don't know. I like having like the field guide, but then it really is dumb to like carry around the field guide because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
Like, if you get one that's not heavy, then it's not gonna have like the birds in it. So, but yeah, I need to use Merlin, but I haven't birded in like a long time. Besides just like sitting out here and like seeing, like a I don't know warbler in the tree or whatever, and like 50 cardinals.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Merlin, they recently added like a sound feature that works really well. Yeah, and then the photo ID I use a lot when I just like snap like a really quick photo of a bird and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sound ID has been a pretty big update in the app.
Okay, that's cool. So what are like some of your favorite birds to photograph?
I really like waterfowl, just because they're so much easier than the warblers.
They're so much easier, yeah. Me too. Like, oh, I can get this one. Yeah, this is easy.
Yeah. So I started like I started out with like a pair of binoculars, and like I could put my phone up to the eyepiece and take like photos. And then I upgraded to like a super zoom bridge camera.
Yep.
So I went to a Nikon P950. And that's kind of when I started. And then all my friends had like these really nice, elaborate, fancy cameras. And I was like, I'll never get there. I'm not that like devoted to this.
Yeah.
And then I went full
into yeah.
the mirrorless camera world. But yeah, I do love ducks. And so summer has been not much duck happening. So I'm looking forward to the winter again, but we're getting a few more duck species. We had some blue-winged teals at the place that I always go to yesterday, which are one of my favorite ducks.
Yeah.
So
they're really pretty small ducks. Yeah. So do you have like a nice wetland around you, or lake or pond, or what do you have?
Yeah, it's called a bog, but it's not technically a bog.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes away from my where I live.
Nice.
And so I'm there multiple times a week. There's like this point and a really small narrow opening between like one half of the pond / bog and the other, and so like all the ducks just come flying through there during the winter.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really nice photo opportunity. And now fall migration is kind of ramping up or starting. So
yeah, is it already like starting up north? I mean, I'm in Oklahoma, so I'm further south, but is that already starting for you?
Yeah, there's been a few warbler species. I haven't seen them yet, but they've been reported at.
Yeah, the diehard people are getting them.
Yeah,
yeah. They always get them, and it's like a month later I start to see one.
Yeah, I'm like, where are you seeing these?
Yeah, no, that's cool. All right, well, nice. It's starting to ramp up. Yeah, I look forward to seeing some duck photos coming soon. Yeah. Your wading birds are really good too, though. Like, those are awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. We're having a lot of green herons. Recently, I mean, when I went home, of course, I've been wanting to see a little blue heron for a very long time now. And it's like literally the day I fly home, all my friends send like a photo of a little blue heron the day I land, and it was there for like a few days and now it's gone.
Oh no.
So
no.
They always brag about stuff when I'm not there.
Yeah, well, I regret to inform you, I did see two little blues, at the lake the other day, but I was paddleboarding and like I tried to get my camera out and like almost fall in, or my phone and almost fall in, and then like by the time I get the zoom and it's like steady, they're gone. So they were like, I did get like 2 or 3 photos. They were so crap. Like, I mean, it's just like you can't tell what it is. Like, you can't even tell if it's a stick or a bird, but yeah, they're really cool birds though. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be back. And since you're like right there, you'll get them whenever they come in.
Yeah, did you have adults, or because we had a juvenile, so it was really bright white?
Yeah, there was one that was juvenile and one adult. That's what it seemed like, anyways. Yeah, I had like lots of white under it when it was flying and stuff. And like I didn't know what it was at first. Like I thought it was a little blue, but I didn't know. Like that's a lot. You know, like I can get like the ideal species. You know, it's like, oh, this is the one. You know, that it should look like. I can get those, but then if there's like any differences, I'm like, I don't know what it is. You know, so I have to look them up. You know, spend like 30 minutes. You know, finding what this one bird is.
Yeah,
that's the nature of it. It's a lot like plants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my plant taxonomy game is not. I'm gonna have to like get with it before I move back because I'm sure like the jobs that I want to get are a lot of plant ID. But yeah, when I went to California, my fiance took me birding, and it was just shorebirds.
Oh
so
yeah.
I took photos of them, and then like on the drive back home, I was just like using Merlin's photo ID.
Yeah.
Shorebirds are so hard.
In the summer, yeah, they're like all like brown and not, you know, in their like royal plumage like they should be. Yeah. Again, like that, there are things that I just don't do in birding. Like I don't look at shorebirds in the summer. You know, unless it's like sanderlings and, you know, I don't know, like a willet or, you know, something that's like real easy or something. But you know, yeah, I'm not a dedicated birder, but I do love seeing the birds. Like it's so cool. I think like that's something you know, anybody that's into plants, I think it's pretty easy for them to have an appreciation for birds, you know, because of the same, you know, you see a plant and you're like dying to know what it is, you know. It's kind of that same, I don't know, same obsessive type thing, you know.
Yeah, and you can also like use the plants as cues for like what kind of birds would come to them. Like
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It really like helps you get more a well-rounded understanding of the ecology as well. You know, like if you're looking up, like you said, you know that this plant exists. You know what its seeds are like. You know, are these like, you know, something that a mallard might eat versus, you know, something that I don't know, some migratory, you know, perching bird would eat. You know, that's true. That's a good point. Cool. Yeah, I could talk birds for a long time.
Me too.
But I usually just have like tons of questions because I know just enough to kind of like, you know, get myself in a hole and I don't know like how to get out of it. So, all right. So I've got some questions for you.
Okay.
And we'll start off with, what is your favorite tree?
I think you know this one already.
I think I do. Is it the California Buckeye?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, on my campus in my undergrad, I mean, they were everywhere, and I just look forward to when they'd be in bloom every year.
Yeah.
So it's definitely my favorite, just because it makes such like pretty flowers, and it's always because I think it's a riparian tree, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I always like go to this creek where all the Buckeyes were and just like chill in the shade. So
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, they usually grow in like at least like the ones that I saw when I visited California this summer is like they're in like the best areas. There's always like a breeze. It's always by the water. It's like where you want to be in California.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good indicator species for humans. That's what that is. Yeah. So do they bloom in the spring? Because I missed them.
I think they do, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
think so. I think a lot of Buckeye species bloom pretty early, or maybe like early summer or something. Yeah, I missed them. We went, and I think it was like middle July or late June, maybe. I can't remember. Sometime like right at the end of June, I think. And they weren't in bloom then, so I missed that. But you know, like funny story, we were at, my wife and I went, and we're on a trail. God, I can't remember where it was. It was kind of like the drive from around like Monterey Bay, like on the one, and we stopped somewhere and we were like hiking, and I was like, oh, I've got to like see this. This is California Buckeye, because the leaves kind of, you know, they have the oh God, I can't even think. It's that leaf arrangement. Palmate leaves, right?
Thank you.
Oh God, I'm really like sweating now. I'm a tree guy, you know. Here we go. But Yeah, and so like I thought I saw it, and like I kept looking. I was like, man, this looks like herbaceous. This is really strange, you know. And
Mhm.
like I was like, well, maybe it's just really young. Is what it looks like. And then later, like I found one, and somebody had like broke it, stepped on it or something, and it had a hollow stem. I was like, well, like Buckeyes do like. I think that like their pith like kind of like falls apart, you know, and like maybe. And then like eventually I found it, and like it had flowers. It was not Buckeye, and I
Oh
was
no.
like, I was devastated because I'm like, I'm supposed to like be able to ID trees, and like this is like made me so mad. And so I had done this for like several trails that we went on. So I was like done with California Buckeyes. Like I'm not gonna see it. You know, this trip. It's probably like I'm in some weird place and it doesn't grow. And then sure
Mhm.
enough, like we went to like a more riparian area, and like out of nowhere, it like not out of nowhere. I just like walked into a branch that was like right there, and I was like, oh god, you know. And I look at it, it's California Buckeye. And I was so excited because it's like this is definitely it. It's woody. It's got the
Mhm.
leaves. Like this is California Buckeye. So I did eventually find it, and then like as we walked around, it's like everywhere. But yeah, I was like crushed, thinking I wouldn't see it, but then I did. So
Yeah,
it
you have
worked
to
out.
go back in the spring then.
Yeah, I definitely want to. Like yeah, especially like as an Okie, living landlocked, I definitely see the appeal for Central California. At least I haven't got to see much else, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome. Okay,
Cool.
so that I always take a long time on favorite tree, but so what is your favorite fireside food and beverage?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe embarrassing thing to admit. I haven't been camping in so long. Um,
No, same. Like it's been a while for me too. Things have been too
yeah.
busy.
Um, I'm a big hmm. I do enjoy a nice soda, unfortunately.
Yeah,
um, and because we have like a fire pit in our backyard.
nice.
And so yeah, I'll always have like a soda and probably like a bag of chips. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You got the salty. I assume depends on the chips you get, and then yeah, get your soda. Yeah, like you mean like soda, like Coke, like soda stuff.
Yeah, I recently
What's your flavors that you like?
I'm a big Dr. Pepper Coke
Okay.
fan, but I recently stopped drinking caffeine, so I can only drink Sprite or root beer, which are fun.
Oh, yeah. I like root beer. Like Sprite's all right. It doesn't. It's not like very cokey. Like,
Yeah.
but you know. Have you ever had the caffeine free like Coke?
I need to try it. I haven't seen it in the store yet.
Okay.
Um, but I'll definitely have to try it because yeah, Sprite sometimes just doesn't do the job.
I know. I know. It's like it's good. It's refreshing, but then like I don't know. You're looking for that burn that Sprite just
Yeah.
doesn't get. Whatever it is, yeah. That
Yeah.
syrupy taste. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Do you have a favorite bird?
Um, I'll say my spark bird because I come up with new favorite birds every
Okay.
day.
Yep. I
um,
understand.
but yeah, the bird that got me super into birding is the sandhill crane.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so in Indiana, there's this one destination for like, I think last year the record was 25 or 30,000 sandhills in one day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like either at dusk or dawn, I went at like the evening, so it was in the winter time. So I went around 4 p.m. and like pretty much right as the sun was like setting, you hear all of like their whooping calls, and then you see them all circling, and then they come and land and eat, and it was just like thousands and thousands of them. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, that's my spark bird. It was just such a cool experience.
Yeah. God, that's cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that. Yeah, what an amazing bird too.
Yeah.
Um, all right, cool. So, if you could go back in time at any point, you can choose and give advice to yourself. What do you think that you would say?
I don't, I guess since I sometimes still struggle with this, I probably advise myself that, like, we all go through imposter syndrome. Um, and that it's not necessarily a bad feeling. I've told a few people, like, I think feeling imposter syndrome means that you really, really care about what you are doing.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't care about like your studies or your research, like you wouldn't feel the need to like constantly do better. So like me and my sophomore year, when I was already behind my sophomore year because I started my program a little bit later than everyone.
Right.
So I was in like a plant ecology class, and we went to a botanical garden, and everyone was like, this plant's this plant's that. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Right.
am I built for this? Like, and now I'm here several years later and I'm doing the thing. And,
Yeah.
I allow yourself to feel those feelings, but don't, let it get too far to where you feel completely discouraged from what you enjoy and what you love.
Yeah. That's fantastic advice. I've never heard it put like that. Yeah, like if you have that feeling of imposter syndrome, it's because you're really passionate about what you're doing. You care. That's good. Like, what a great like reframe. Like turn it into a positive. Really, just push through it.
Yeah.
Like it. That's good. All right, good stuff. You're wise for your years for sure. Okay, so if older Tatiana could come back in time to where you are right now, what would you hope for her to say? What would you hope to hear her say to you?
Mm, Probably that I'm putting all that I'm working for to actual like good use. I think I'm like, I have like a year left, and I'm like, oh my God, what job am I going to get? And I'm looking at all these like job listings, and I'm like, I don't qualify for that. How am I ever going to get these jobs? And I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I think just like seeing future me in a job that's fulfilling and, applies what I've been learning, would be really nice and encouraging.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I have no doubt too. Like you're definitely gonna be just fine in the job hunt, where it comes that time for sure. Um, let's see. If you could choose a cartoon character to be, who would you choose? This one's such a weird one. I don't know. I think Tiff, my wife, came up with this, and I love it. I think it's so good because I can't answer it. I don't know. I don't know who I'd be, but
Huh. Trying to think of all the cartoons that I watched as a kid. I was a big SpongeBob fan.
uh
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
huh. That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess like I would probably like resonate most with Courage. I'm just scared of a lot of things.
But yet you do so many things, and you're like in the spotlight too, right? And
Yeah,
that's like courage. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Definitely, yeah. It always puts me out of my comfort zone. Like I'm like fairly introverted, but not too introverted. So like
Right.
I'll Zoom and like public speaking, I'm always just like so antsy and
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Well, you don't want to see like the breathing routine that I have to go through before like each and every time I get on camera. So I can relate to that. No, that's
yeah.
cool. I think that's really good. Um. Okay. Do you have any books that you're reading right now, or like a favorite book?
I don't read very much. I,
Well, you've got like plenty of other reading, right? School reading.
yeah, I'll just be like, here's a scientific paper. Give me the
Mm-hmm.
synopsis on it, please.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
yeah, I unfortunately like all my friends always get. I have a book from my professor that's just been sitting here. Yeah, it's hopefully he's not watching. But yeah, I read a lot as a kid, but recently I don't know, I just can't focus very much. So I always commend people who just read for fun because I wish that I could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, my reading for fun days, like I've just started to do it more. Um maybe like the past year or so. I think for one, like because I'm forced to be home more, so maybe that's part of it. But yeah, I'm just so burnt out on reading like papers, and that just by the time it's done, like reading isn't like the funnest thing to think of doing. You know, you want to unplug, and that includes like from books too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I can relate. I do like to read when I take the time to do it,
Yeah.
though. Okay. If you had to be a tree or plant, what one would you be? I mean, I know a tree is a plant, but you know what I mean. Any other plant? Yeah.
Okay. Probably want to be somewhere nice and cool. It's not drought like California all the time. I think I'm like constantly biased towards my study plants.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good, right? You like
just because like, I think like just plants are so cool, and it's like incredible how they can just, you know, they're sedentary and they can't go anywhere, and they just have to deal with what's coming.
Yeah.
Which is why I like got interested in them in the first place. It was like animals can move, but it's not as easy as that. But it'd probably be. I know, despite all I just said, I'd probably be the study plant that I had, which is Streptanthus glandulosus secundus. A, because it's gorgeous, and B, it's just so strong. Like it, you know, it experiences drought, and it also is in serpentine soils that are super toxic. But it continues to persist for millions of years in these really like disjunct populations that are really small. I think, yeah, I want to be as strong as that plant.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I have like just profound respect for. That's one thing that's cool about studying plants. It like I definitely key on exactly what you just said. Is like the scraggly. I love like the scraggly trees that just look like they're like wizened old, you know, like people that were turned into trees or something. You know, like they're just hanging on somehow. You know, and like I definitely like perennials and stuff like that can persist in those soils for sure. That definitely strikes a chord. Yeah, plants are cool. I agree. Do you have a bird? Oh, sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen bristlecone pines?
Oh my gosh. So we were going to. That was part of like our agenda, and like I had somebody that was helping guide me on that, and we just basically our plans kind of just like, oh, we got delayed at the airport. That's what it was. So we flew into Reno, but we flew in. We had to stay the night in Dallas, and so it threw us off a day. So yeah, no, I haven't yet. That's my next plan though. Yeah, for sure.
They're so cool. I haven't seen one yet, and I really want to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely want to. Oh, also, I was gonna say, like, you brought up Yosemite, and you said like you live 3 hours. So I met a couple of people in Reno, or in a oh gosh, Truckee, California, and they, like, well, Adam Chank. I don't know if you know of him. He's from University of Reno, Nevada, and his student Victoria Harris. And anyways, they were telling me that like neither one of them had been to Yosemite, but yet they like live right there, well, practically right there. But like that makes sense from a lot of like I know people in Australia that like have never like surfed or never like been to the beach. It's like what? How could you not do that? Like. And yeah, so I get it. You're not alone. That's what I was gonna say with that.
Good. Yeah.
That was random. Sorry, but the bristlecone like made me think of that. Like, yeah, you can live like right next to some really cool stuff, but you gotta get out there and see it. Yeah. I don't know what it is. There's a block, like when it's your own backyard kind of deal.
Yeah. You're like, I'm already just here. What's the 3-hour drive worth?
Yeah, I know.
So much. Take the drive.
I know. Like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to go back to California. There's so much more to see, obviously. Let's see. So, could you tell me like who's been most influential in your life, or in your career, or both, whichever?
I would say in my career so far, it's been my undergraduate professor, Dr. Sarah Swope at Mills College. She put a lot of faith into me when I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think I needed someone to be like, I believe in you, and you make mistakes along the way, and that's the purpose of all of this. And you're supposed to make mistakes, or else how do you learn how to problem solve and stuff like that? Um, we are still keep in touch to this day. I think like the first experience that I had birding, I went to Ecuador on a spring break trip. That was like a class spring break trip.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, before I went there, I was like, why are people so in love with birds? Like, they're just birds. And then I get there and I'm like, I know why people love birds so much, especially because
Yeah.
like a bajillion hummingbird species, like everywhere, and just like so much biodiversity. And so I maybe might be going back with that class next March. So that's up in the air still. But yeah, she's just been, you know, kind of the main person that I would go to for either like academic or just, I'm having a rough time kind of support.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she's a really cool person.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. So, oh yeah, I've been to Ecuador one time, and it was the first country I'd ever been to outside of the U.S. And but like, yeah, and like like this was like this was in high school for me, and then I've been to Australia a couple times. But, like the bad thing is I was not into like plants, trees, or birds before I did went to all these places, and now that I like I'm not in a position to be able to do that like I was. Like
Yeah.
now I'm dying to go back. I bet that was really cool and will be even better for you when you do get to go back now with your
Mm-hmm.
knowledge that you have. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Well,
that's how
cool.
I
I
feel.
look forward to seeing photos of the hummingbirds and everything else there is if you get to go.
Yeah, for
Ah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I really hope that works out for you. Okay. Well, I mean, we talked about a lot of things. For this hour that it's been. Yeah, is there anything else like you like to, I don't know, maybe like why you do what you do, or like maybe kind of take a home or a takeaway message for kind of the inspiration that you have to keep doing what you do.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess like the overarching theme for what I do is I'm pretty passionate about conservation. I think nowadays, like you can feel super just like lost for hope, and you see all the fires in California, and you're like, do we, how do we like recover from this, and can we recover from this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and while what I'm doing is can be like a pretty small scope, I think without like millions of scientists that are doing small research projects on either rare or threatened species, that all like come together in culmination of really important work, and really people who put a lot of time and effort into this. um and yeah, so I think that's mainly why I'm doing it. And also just like a just curiosity.
Yeah.
um my specific project right now, there's one thing that I'm measuring that nobody's measured in a naturally occurring cleistogamous species before, and I'm just like dying to know the results, but I'm still doing all these hand pollinations. So I won't know those results until probably next year. But yeah, just I think just an innate curiosity for plants. They're just so mysterious.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I hope to like in the future get a job in conservation or U.S. Fish and Wildlife or USGS. So it's my goal.
Yeah, awesome. No, I think you're definitely on the right path, and that's cool. Well, I definitely can't wait to see your results next year or whenever whenever you have them, and you synthesize it all for us. But yeah, I look forward to it. This has been awesome. Thanks for one. I screwed up the time of everything, so thanks for being patient and for just being you and making it work. Yeah, what's the best way for people to reach out to you if they want to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I would say either my Instagram or Twitter account. They're both under the same username, so it's botany underscore Taty, my nickname. You can just put it in the link or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
just send me a message and I'll try to get back.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely link everything to you that you want me to, and all of that, and also like the Holden lecture. That was really cool. What I got to see, and I'll leave the tab open until I finally finish it.
Yeah.
But it was so great to chat with you, and yeah, I look forward to staying in touch over Twitter, and yeah, maybe one day see people in person. That'll be something to look forward to. That we all just keep like holding on to one day.
Yeah. One day. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye.